Good evening. This is video number 15 of 30 videos in 30 days, and I already did this a couple of days ago, but it was so bad, and it was not exactly finished yet. It had a clamp on it because the last part was being glued, and I touched it up since then also. It's gone through a few scrapes, moving it around, putting the arcs in, what have you. So now it's finished, except that I might clear coat it, which is not going to really change anything except the finish. But this is it. So this is a matte spiral. I think I have naming rights because I think I'm the first one to make one. It's a 3D spiral based on the Fibonacci sequence. If you don't know what that is, just search it. I was going to say Google it, but don't Google it because Google is evil. Just search it. But it's the Fibonacci sequence. It played a big part in that one movie that Tom Hanks was in, where the Da Vinci Code, of course. Anyways. The sequence just goes, for those of you who start at 0, some start at 1, but 0, 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, and on. Every subsequent pair of numbers being added together to make the next number. 0 plus 1 is 1, 1 plus 1 is 2, 1 plus 2 is 3, 2 plus 3 is 5, and on. So this one it's in inches, so I'm just going to show you right off, trying to center each cube in perspective where they start. Get in as close as possible. Okay, that's not going to work. Let me try that. No, that's not going to work either. Anyways, here we go. You've got 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, I gotta stand up, 8, 13, 21, the next would be 33, the next after that would be 50, wait a second. 13, 20, I'm sorry, 34. The next one after that would be 55. You'd think I'd have these numbers memorized by now. I made it this big so I can get it through doors. I'm looking at this as, for any place that is willing, a public art project, because it just keeps getting bigger with each subsequent cube. And I started with inches. It could be scaled to just about any size because any increment could be used, could be millimeters, whatever. But in any event, I made this one out of wood because that was the easiest way to do it. The wood came out real nice. The cubes came out real sweet, I think. The arcs were a little more problematic, and I did the best I could. This is the first one. It's a prototype. I actually made one glaring error in it that if you saw it in person and were really paying attention would notice. I'm not even going to mention it. But it's a 3D spiral based on the Fibonacci sequence, and as a 2D spiral is a series of arcs traveling through a series of squares, this is a series of arcs traveling through a series of cubes. I'm reading this. As I read, I'm just going to pan around it and not even look at the phone. So if it looks kind of funny, it's because I'm looking at the script. But it was originally an idea for a painting that was not working out. I couldn't quite draw it the way I wanted, which didn't look anything like this anyways. But I decided to just make one. And therein came the idea that this could be a public art project made of metal. I made it of wood because it was easiest. I've got a table saw, and I've worked with wood before, and I don't weld yet, but I couldn't make one of metal. Not completely. The arcs are, of course, but the structure, the cubes, are not, of course. Okay, I already went through that. Let's see. I'll show you a figure 8 thing going on here. I noticed this when I was looking around at it. It might be hard to line up with the camera, but you'll notice the arcs. Let's see if I can get it better. That's where I want it to be. You'll notice that it creates a figure 8 if you line it up right, that where the arcs intersect, the arc behind it, if you line them up right, it's a figure 8 that would actually go on for infinity, which is fitting, I guess, because we use the figure 8 to represent infinity. And another thing I discovered about this early on when I was thinking this through, because it could be done a number of ways. This is the way I chose. If you look straight on, and if it were better made, and if instead of wood or metal or anything, it was something like plexiglass that you could see through, you would see that these arcs are, when you look at them straight on like this, head on more or less, they just look like a two-dimensional spiral. But of course, when you move angle, that's when it becomes apparent that it's actually 3 dimensions, which I wanted it to look 3-dimensional for the art idea I had originally. When I was thinking of using this in a painting, it was going to be 3-dimensional like a sphere, whereas the two-dimensional spiral based on a Fibonacci sequence, or any two-dimensional spiral, tends to be circular. This was supposed to be spherical. This is never going to be spherical. It's just going around spirally. It never loops over itself in the other dimensions, which is the effect I was looking for, but that's not what came to be when I started drawing it out to make a model. But when I started drawing it out to make a model, and I was going through basically what would become the coordinates, where the arc, everywhere the arc, there we go, everywhere the arc intersects the edge of a cube, it created a pattern of very interesting numbers. And I don't know if this means anything to anybody who's mathematically inclined, but I platted out all the XYZ coordinates, and I just put that on a sheet, which I'll put as a still image at the end of this, which is, I'm almost done here. But that is basically it. So like I said, I'm doing 30 videos in 30 days just as kind of a, I don't know, fun project, whatever. And this is the 15th, so I thank you for watching. And if you didn't watch, well then what's the matter with you, man? All right, talk to you tomorrow.